Hello and welcome back to the next episode in our Let's Look At / Read Through series. We're going to continue with the 3rd edition Player's Handbook, and we're just going to jump right in to races. The Elven Woods are home to elves and their allies. You won't find any dwarves or half-orcs there. In turn, elves, humans, halflings, and half-orcs are hard to find in underground dwarven cities. And while non-humans may travel through the human countryside, most country folk are humans. In the big cities, however, the promise of power and profit brings together people of all the common races: humans, dwarves, elves, gnomes, half-elves, half-orcs, and halflings. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Choosing a race. After you roll your ability scores and before you write them on your character sheet, choose your character's race. At the same time, you'll want to choose his or her class, since race affects how well he or she will be in each class. Once you know your character's race and class, assign your ability score rolls to particular abilities. Alter the abilities according to race, see Table 2.1, Racial Ability Adjustments, and continue detailing your character. You can play a character of any race or class, but certain races do better pursuing certain careers. Halflings, for example, can be fighters, but their small size and special features make them do better as rogues. Your character's race gives you plenty of cues as to what sort of person he or she is, how he or she feels about characters of other races, and what might motivate him or her. Remember, however, that these descriptions of races only apply to the majority of people. In each race, some individuals diverge from the norm, and your character could be one of these. Don't let a description of a race keep you from detailing your character as you like. Racial characteristics. Your character's race determines some of his or her qualities. Ability adjustments. Find your character's race on Table 2.1, Racial Ability Adjustments. See the next page, and apply the adjustments you see there to your character's ability scores. If these changes raise your score above 18 or below 3, that's okay. Exception: intelligence for characters does not go below 3. If your half-orc character would have an adjusted intelligence of 1 or 2, make it 3 instead. For example, Lida, a halfling, gets a +2 racial bonus on her dexterity score and a -2 racial penalty on her strength. Knowing this, her player puts her best score rolled 15 in dexterity and sees it increase to 17. She doesn't want a strength penalty, so she puts an above average score 12 in strength. It drops to 10, which carries neither a bonus nor a penalty. Favored class. Each race's favored class is also listed on Table 2.1, Racial Ability Adjustments. A character's favored class doesn't count against the character when determining XP. Penalties for multiclassing. See Experience for Multiclass Characters, page 56. For example, as a halfling rogue, Lida can add a second class later on, becoming a multiclass character without worrying about an XP penalty. I will say, the color of this page makes it very difficult to read. And then we have Table 2.1, Racial Ability Adjustments. Race and languages. In a big city, visitors can hear all manner of languages being spoken. Dwarves haggle over gems in Dwarven, Elven sages engage in learned debates in Elven, and preachers call out prayers in Celestial. The language heard most, however, is Common, a tongue shared by all who take part in the culture at large. With all these languages in use, it is easy for people to learn other languages, and adventurers often speak several tongues. All characters know how to speak Common. Dwarves, elves, gnomes, half-elves, half-orcs, and halflings also speak a racial language as appropriate. Smart characters, those with an intelligence bonus, speak other languages as well. 1 extra language per point of bonus. Select your character's bonus languages, if any, from the list found in his or her race's description later in this chapter. Literacy. Unless your character is a barbarian, he or she can read and write all the languages he or she speaks. A barbarian can become literate by spending skill points. Class-related languages. Clerics, druids, and wizards can choose between languages both as bonus languages, even if they're not on the list found in the race descriptions. These class-related languages are as follows: Cleric, Abyssal, Celestial, Infernal; Druid, Sylvan; and Wizard, Draconic. Humans. Most humans are the descendants of pioneers, conquerors, traders, travelers, refugees, and other people on the move. As a result, human lands are a mix of people, physically, culturally, religiously, and politically. Hardy or fine, light-skinned or dark, showy or austere, primitive or civilized, devout or impious, humans run the gamut. There's a lot of words that I've realized I don't know. Personality. Humans are the most adaptable, flexible, and ambitious people among the common races. They are diverse in their tastes, morals, customs, and habits. Others accuse them of having little respect for history, but it's only natural that humans with their relatively short lifespans and constantly changing cultures would have a shorter collective memory than dwarves, elves, gnomes, and halflings. Humans typically stand from 5 feet to a little over 6 feet tall and weigh from 125 to 250 pounds, with men noticeably taller and heavier than women thanks to their penchant for migration and conquest, and to their short generations. Humans are more physically diverse than other common races, with skin shades that run from nearly black to very pale. I got something in my eye. Hair from black to blonde, curly, kinky, or straight, and facial hair for men from sparse to thick. Plenty of humans have a dash of non-human blood, and they may demonstrate hints of elven, orc, or other lineages. Humans often ostentatious or orthodox in their grooming and dress sporting, unusual hairstyles. Fanciful clothes, tattoos, body piercings, and the like. Humans have short lifespans, achieving adulthood at about age 15 and rarely living beyond even a single century. Just as readily as they mix with each other, humans mix with the members of other races. Among the other races, humans are known as everyone's second best friends. They serve as ambassadors, diplomats, magistrates, merchants, and functionaries of all kinds. Humans tend toward no particular alignment, not even neutrality. The best and the worst are found among humans. Human lands are usually in flux, with new ideas, social changes, innovations, and new leaders constantly coming to the fore. Members of longer-lived races find human culture exciting, but eventually a little wearying, or even bewildering. Since humans lead such short lives, their leaders are all young compared to the political, religious, and military leaders among the other races. Even when individual humans are conservative, traditionalist, human institutions change with the generations, adapting and evolving faster than parallel institutions among the elves, dwarves, gnomes, and halflings. Individually and as a group, humans are adaptable, opportunists, and they stay on top of changing political dynamics. Human lands generally include relatively large numbers of non-humans, compared, for instance, to the number of non-dwarves who live in the dwarven lands. Religion. Unlike members of other common races, humans do not have a chief racial deity. Pelor, the sun god, is the most commonly worshipped deity in human lands, but he is nothing like the central place that dwarves give Moradin, or elves give Corellon Lorethian. Some humans are the most ardent and zealous adherents of a given religion, while others are the most impious people around. Humans speak common. They typically learn other languages, including obscure ones, and they are fond of sprinkling their speech with words borrowed from other tongues, orc curses, halfling culinary terms, elven musical expressions, dwarven military phrases, and so on. Oh, I got something in my eye. I am so sorry. Human names vary greatly. Without a unifying deity to give them a touchstone for their culture, and with such a fast breeding cycle, humans mutate socially at a fast rate. Human culture, therefore, is more diverse than other cultures, and no human names are truly typical. Some human parents give their children dwarven or elven names, pronounced more or less correctly. Human adventurers are the most audacious, daring, and ambitious members of an audacious, daring, and ambitious race. A human can earn glory in the eyes of his or her fellow by amassing power, wealth, and fame. Humans, more than other people, champion causes rather than territories or groups. And then human racial traits. Medium size. As a medium-sized creature, humans have no special bonus or penalties due to their size. Humans' base speed is 30 feet. 1 extra feet at first level, because humans are quick to master specialized tasks and varied in their talents. 4 extra skill points at first level, and 1 extra skill point at each additional level. And then automatic languages, common, and bonus languages. Favored class, any, when determining whether a multi-class human suffers no XP penalty. His highest class does not count. Okay. Dwarves. Dwarves are known for their skill in warfare, the ability to withstand physical and magical punishment. Is it blurry? Oh, it's good. Sorry. Magical punishment, their knowledge of the earth's secrets, their hard work, and their capacity for drinking ale. The mysterious kingdoms carved out from the insides of mountains are renowned for their marvelous treasures that they produce as gifts for trade. Dwarves are slow to laugh or jest and suspicious of strangers, but they are generous to those few who earn their trust. Dwarves value gold, gems, jewelry, and art objects made with these precious materials, and they have been known to succumb to greed. They fight neither recklessly nor timidly, but with a careful courage, and tenacity. Their sense of justice is strong, but at its worst, it can turn into a thirst for vengeance. Among gnomes who get along famously with dwarves, a mild oath is, "If I'm lying, may I cross a dwarf." Physical description. Dwarves stand only 4 to 4.5 feet tall, but they are so broad and compact that they are, on average, almost as heavy as humans. Dwarven men are slightly taller and noticeably heavier than dwarven women. Dwarf skin is typically deep tan or light brown, and their eyes are dark. Their hair is usually black, gray, or brown, and worn long. Dwarven men value their beards highly and groom them very carefully. Dwarves favor simple styles for their hair, beards, and clothes. Dwarves are considered adults at about age 50, and they can live to be over 400 years old. Dwarves get along fine with gnomes and passably with humans, half-elves and halflings. Dwarves say the difference between an acquaintance and a friend is about 100 years. Humans with their short lifespans have a hard time forging truly strong bonds with dwarves. The best dwarven human friendships are between a human and a dwarf who like a human's parents and grandparents. Dwarves fail to appreciate elves' subtlety and art regarding elves as unpredictable, fickle, and flighty. Still, elves and dwarves have, through the ages, found common cause in battles against orcs, goblins, and gnolls, and elves have learned that dwarves grudging respect. Dwarves mistrust half-orcs in general, and the feeling is mutual. Luckily, dwarves are fair-minded, and they grant individual half-orcs the opportunity to prove themselves. Alignment. Dwarves are usually lawful, and they tend toward good. Adventuring dwarves are less likely to fit in the common world, however, since they are more likely to be those who do not fit perfectly into dwarven society. This binding is really frustrating me. Is it blurry? No, it looks a little off. Dwarven lands. Dwarven kingdoms are usually deep beneath the stony faces of mountains, where the dwarves mine gems and precious metals and forge items of wonder. Trustworthy members of other races are welcome here, though some parts of these lands are off limits even to them. Whatever wealth the dwarves can find in their mountains they gain through trade. Dwarves dislike water travel, so enterprising humans frequently handle trade in dwarven goods when travel is also along a water route. Dwarves in human lands are typically mercenaries, weaponsmiths, armorsmiths, jewelers, and artisans. Dwarf bodyguards are renowned for their courage and loyalty, and they are self-rewarded for their virtues. It literally is, I can't read the last word in these sentences. The chief deity of the dwarves is Moradin, the Soul Forger. He is the creator of dwarves, and he expects his followers to work for the betterment of the dwarven race. Dwarves speak Dwarven, which has its own runic script. Dwarven literature is marked by comprehensive histories of kingdoms and wars through the millennia. The Dwarven alphabet is also used with minor variations for the gnome, giant, goblin, orc, and Terran languages. Dwarvens also speak the languages of their friends, humans, and gnomes, and enemies. Some also learn Terran, the strange language of earth-based creatures such as Zorn. A Dwarven name is granted to him by his clan elder, in accordance with tradition. Every proper Dwarven name has been used and reused down through the generation. A dwarf's name is not his own. It belongs to his clan. If he misuses or brings shame to it, his clan will strip him of it. A dwarf stripped of his name is forbidden by dwarves' law to use any dwarven name in its place. And then it gives you examples of names. Adventurers. A dwarven adventurer might be motivated by a crusading zeal, a love of excitement, or simple greed. As long as his accomplishment brings honor to his clan, his deeds earn him respect and status. Defeating giants and claiming powerful magic weapons are sure ways for a dwarf to earn the respect of other dwarves. Dwarven racial traits. +2 to Constitution, -2 Charisma. Dwarves are stout and tough, but tend to be gruff and reserved. Medium size, dark vision, stone cunning. Stonework traps, +2 racial bonus on saving throws against poison. Oh, hold on, I skipped the whole thing. Stone cunning. Stone cunning grants dwarves a +2 racial bonus on checks to notice unusual stonework, such as sliding walls. Stonework traps, new constructions, even when built to match the old, unsafe stone surfaces, shaky stone ceilings, and the like. Something that isn't stone but that is disguised as stone also counts as unusual stonework. A dwarf who merely comes within 10 feet of unusual stonework can make a check as if he were actively searching, and a dwarf can use the search skill to find stonework traps as a rogue can. A dwarf can also intuit depth, sensing his approximate depth underground as naturally as a human can sense which way is up. Dwarves have a sixth sense about stonework, and an innate ability that they get plenty of opportunity to practice and hone in their underground homes. And then plus two racial bonus on saving throws against poison, plus two racial bonus on saving throws against spells and spell effects, plus one racial bonus to attack rolls against orcs and goblinoids, plus 4 dodge bonus against giants. This bonus represents special training that dwarves undergo, during which they learn tricks that previous generations developed in their battles with giants. Note that any time a character loses his positive dexterity bonus to armor class, such as when he's caught flat-footed, he loses his dodge bonus too. Plus 2 racial bonus on appraise checks that are related to stone or metal items. Dwarves are familiar with the valuable items of all kinds, especially those made of stone or metal. Plus 2 racial bonus on craft checks that are related to stone or metal. What? Is that a repeat? Oh, that's it. Appraise. It's craft checks. And then automatic languages, common and dwarven. Bonus languages, giant, gnome, goblin, orc, terran, and undercommon. Dwarves are familiar with the languages of their enemies and of their subterranean allies. And then favorite class, fighter. Multi-class dwarf's fighter class does not count when determining whether he suffers an XP penalty for multi-classing. And then we've got elves. Elves mingle freely in human lands, always welcome yet never at home there. They are well known for their poetry, dance, song, lore, and magical arts. Elves favor things of natural and simple beauty. When danger threatens their woodland homes, however, elves reveal a more martial side, demonstrating skill with sword, bow, and battle strategy. Personality. Elves are more often amused than excited and more likely to be curious than greedy, which, with such long lives, they tend to keep a broad perspective on events, remaining aloof and unfazed by petty happenstance. When pursuing a goal, however, whether an adventurous mission or learning a new skill or art, they can be focused and relentless. They are slow to make friends and enemies, and even slower to forget them. They reply to petty insults with disdain and serious insults with vengeance. Physical description. Elves are short and slim, standing about 4.5 to 5.5 feet tall. Is that still common? I always pictured elves taller. Typically weighing 85 to 135 pounds, with elven men the same height as and only marginally heavier than an elven woman. They are graceful but frail. They tend to be pale-skinned and dark-haired with deep green eyes. Elves have no facial or body hair. They prefer simple, comfortable clothes, especially in pastel blues and greens, and they enjoy simple yet elegant jewelry. Elves possess unearthly grace and fine features. Many humans and members of other races find them hauntingly beautiful. An elf achieves adulthood at about 110 years in age and can live to be over 700 years old. Elves do not sleep, as members of other common races do. Instead, an elf meditates in a deep trance for 4 hours a day. An elf resting in this fashion gains the same benefit that a human does for 8 hours of sleep. While meditating, an elf dreams, though these dreams are actually mental exercises that have become reflexive through the years of practice. The common word for an elf's meditation is trance, as in 4 hours of trance. Elves consider humans rather unrefined, halflings a bit staid, gnomes somewhat trivial, and dwarves not at all fun. They look on half-elves with some degree of pity, and they regard half-orcs with unrelenting suspicion. While haughty, elves are not particular the way halflings and dwarves can be, and they are generally pleasant and gracious even to those who fall short of elven standards, which after all consist of just about everybody who's not an elf. Elves love freedom, variety, and self-expression. They lean strongly toward the gentler aspects of chaos. Generally, they value and protect others' freedom as well as their own, and they are more often good than not. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Had to take a drink. Elves mostly live in woodland clans of less than 200 souls. Their well-hidden villages bunt into the trees, doing little harm to the forest. They hunt game, gather food, and grow vegetables, their skill and magic allowing them to support themselves amply without the need for clearing and plowing land. Their contact with outsiders is usually limited, though some few elves make a good living trading finely worked elven clothes and crafts for the metals that elves have no interest in mining. Elves encountered in human lands are common wandering minstrels, favorite artists, or sages. Human nobles compete for the services of elven instructors who teach swordblades to their children. Above all others, elves worship Corleone Larethian, the protector and preserver of life. Elven myth holds that it was from his blood shed in battles with Grumash, the god of the orcs, that the elves first arose. Corellon is a patron of magical study, arts, dance, and poetry, as well as a powerful warrior god. Elves speak a fluid language of subtle intonations, and intricate grammar. While Elven literature is rich and varied, it is the language's songs and poems that are most famous. Many bards learn so that they can add Elven ballads to their repertoires. Sorry. Others simply memorize Elven songs by sound. The Elven script as flowing as the spoken word serves as a script for Sylvan, the language of dryads and pixies. I'm sorry, I got a frog in my throat. When an elf declares herself an adult, usually sometime after achieving her 100th birthday, she also selects a name. Those who knew her as a youngster may or may not have continued to call her by her child name, and she may or may not care. An elf's name is a unique creation, though it may reflect the name of those she admires or the names of others in her others in her family. In addition, she bears her family name. Family names are combinations of regular Elven words, and some elves traveling among humans translate their name into common, while others use the Elven version. What? Family names are combinations of regular Elven words, and some elves traveling among humans translate their names into common, while others use the Elven version. Then we've got the names. Adventurers. Elves take up adventuring out of wanderlust. Life among humans moves at a pace that the elves dislike. Regimented from day to day, but changing from decade to decade. Elves among humans, however, find careers that allow them to wander freely and set their own pace. Elves do enjoy demonstrating their prowess with a sword and bow, gaining magical powers, and adventuring allows them to do so. Good elves may also be rebels or crusaders. Seriously, the binding, it cuts off the word. And I have to, lean all the way over. Hopefully it gets better. Elven racial traits. +2 to dexterity, -2 constitution. Elves are graceful but frail, and elves' grace makes her naturally better at stealth and archery. Medium size. As medium-sized creatures, elves have no special bonus or penalties to their side. Base speed is 30. Immunity magic sleep spells and effects, and a +2 racial saving throw bonus against enchantment spells or effects. Low light vision. Elves can see twice as far as a human at starlight, moonlight, torchlight, and similar conditions of poor illumination. They retain the ability to distinguish color and detail under these conditions. Okay, so instead of dark vision, it's low light vision. Proficient with either longsword or rapier. Proficient with short bow and longbow, composite longbow, and composite shortbow. Elves esteem the arts of swordplay and archery, so all elves are familiar with these weapons. +2 racial bonus on listen, search, and spot checks. An elf... I keep saying what? Who merely passes within 5 feet of secret or concealed door is entitled to a search check to notice it is if he were actively looking for the door. An elf's senses are so keen that she particularly has 6th sense about hidden portals. Automatic languages. Common and Elven. Bonus languages. Draconic, Gnome, Goblin, Orc, and Sylvan. Favorite class. A wizard. Okay. We're going to do Gnome, and then we're going to call it. So, Gnome. Gnomes are welcome everywhere as technicians, alchemists, and adventurers. Despite the demand for their skills, most gnomes prefer to remain among their own kind, living in comfortable burrows beneath rolling woodland hills where animals bound out, but hunting is a very bad idea. Yeah, we'll finish Gnome. Personality. Gnomes adore animals, beautiful gems, and jokes of all kinds. Gnomes have a great sense of humor, and while they love puns, jokes, and games, they relish tricks. The more intricate, the better. Fortunately, they apply the same dedication to more practical arts, such as engineering, as they do their pranks. Gnomes are inquisitive. They love to find things out by personal experience, and at times are even reckless. Their curiosity makes them skilled engineers, since they're always trying new ways to build things. Sometimes Gnome pulls a prank just to see how the people involved will react. Gnomes stand about 3 to 3.5 feet tall and weigh 40 to 45 pounds. Their skin ranges from dark tan to woody brown, their hair is fair, and their eyes can be any shade of blue. Gnome males prefer short, carefully trimmed beards. Gnomes generally wear leather or earth tones, and they decorate their clothes with intricate stitching for fine jewelry. Gnomes reach adulthood at about age 40, and they live about 350 years, though some can live almost 500 years. Gnomes get along with dwarves who share their love of precious objects, their curiosity about mechanical devices, and their hatred of goblins and giants. They enjoy the company of halflings, especially those who are easygoing enough to put up with pranks and jests. Most gnomes are a little suspicious of taller races, humans, elves, half-elves, and half-orcs, but they are rarely hostile or malicious. Gnomes are most often good. Those who rend toward law are sages, engineers, researchers, scholars, investigators, or consultants. Those who rend towards chaos are tricksters, wanderers, or fanciful jewelers. Gnomes are good-hearted, and even the tricksters among them are more playful than vicious. Luckily, evil gnomes are as rare as they are frightening. Gnomes make their homes in hilly, wooded lands. They live underground but get more fresh air than dwarves do, enjoying the natural living world on the surface whenever they can. Their homes are well hidden by both clever construction and illusions. Those who come to visit and are welcome are ushered into the bright, warm burrows. Those who are not welcome never find the burrow in the first place. Gnomes who settle in human lands are commonly gem cutters, mechanics, sages, or tutors. Some human families retain gnome tutors. During his life, a gnome tutor can teach several generations of a single human family. My goodness, I am having a really hard time reading today. Religion. The chief gnome god is Garl Glittergold, the watchful protector. His clerics teach that gnomes are to cherish and support their communities. Pranks, for example, are seen as ways to lighten spirits and to keep gnomes humble, not ways for pranksters to triumph over those they trick. The gnome language, which uses the dwarven script, is renowned for its technical treatises and its catalogs of knowledge of the natural world. Human herbalists, naturalists, and engineers commonly learn gnome in order to read the best books on their topics of study. Names. Gnomes love names, and most have a half dozen or so. As a gnome grows up, his mother gives him a name, his father gives him a name, his clan elder gives him a name, his aunts and uncles give him a name, and he gains nicknames from just about anyone. Gnome names are typically variants of the names of ancestors or distant relatives, though some are purely new inventions. When dealing with humans and others who are rather stuffy about names, gnomes learn to act as if they have no more than 3 names: a personal name, a clan name, and a nickname. When deciding which of these several names to use among humans, a gnome generally chooses the one that's the most fun to say. Gnome clan names are combinations of common gnome words, and gnomes almost always translate them into common when in human lands, or into elven when in elven lands, and so on. And an example of all the names. Whew, this is a long one. Adventurers. Gnomes are curious and impulsive. They may take up adventuring as a way to see the world or for the love of exploring. Lawful gnomes may adventure to set things right and to protect the innocent, demonstrating the same sense of duty toward society as a whole that gnomes generally exhibit toward their own enclaves. As lovers of gems and other fine items, some gnomes take to adventuring as a quick, if dangerous, path to wealth. Depending on his relations to his home clan, an adventuring gnome may be seen as a vagabond or even something of a traitor for abandoning clan responsibilities. And then gnome racial traits: +2 to constitution, -2 to strength. Like dwarves, gnomes are tough, but they are small and therefore not as strong as large humanoids. As small creatures, gnomes gain a +1 size bonus to armor class, a +1 size bonus on attack rolls, and a +4 size bonus on hide checks. But they must use smaller weapons than humans use, and their lifting and carrying limits are 3/4 of those of a medium-sized creature. Gnome base speed is 20 feet. Low light vision. Gnomes can see twice as far as humans in starlight, moonlight, torchlight, and smaller conditions of poor illumination. They retain the ability to distinguish color and detail under these conditions. +2 racial bonus on saving throws against illusions, because gnomes are innately familiar with illusions of all kinds. +1 racial bonus to attack rolls against kobolds and goblinoids, goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears. Gnomes battle these creatures frequently and practice special techniques for fighting them. +4 dodge bonus to against giants. +2 racial bonus on listen checks. I skipped. +4 dodge bonus against giants. This bonus represents special training the gnomes undergo, during which they learn tricks that previous generations have developed in their battles with giants. Note that any time a character loses his positive dexterity bonus to the armored class, such as when he's caught flat-footed, he loses the dodge bonus as well. Same with the dwarves. +2 racial bonus on listen checks. Gnomes have keen ears. +2 racial bonus on alchemy checks. A gnome's sensitive nose allows him to monitor alchemical processes by smell. Automatic languages. Gnomes with intelligence scores of 10 or higher may cast the 0-level spell cantrips Dancing Lights, Ghost Sound, and Prestidigitation, each once per day. These are arcane spells, and as such, the gnome suffers a spell failure, penalties for wearing armor. Treat the gnome as a first level caster for all spell effects, depending on level. Spell description on pages, yeah. And then finally, favorite class, Illusionist, which is a wizard who specializes in casting illusion spells. See page 158. Okay, and then we'll pick up with half elves on Monday. So, it has changed. It's going to be full. Oh, I just hit my computer. So like I said, it has been the theme of the show has changed to where I'm reading the full book now. But yeah, I'm also going to upload every day except Sundays. And I'm still going to do the D&D campaign, but from now on, you'll get a video every day. But if you enjoyed what you liked, if you enjoyed what you watched, please consider leaving a like and maybe subscribing. And thanks for watching.